This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. You're listening to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Network. I'm Brad Hicks, your host. Tonight, Josh isn't with us, but we do have some awesome guests on the other line. We got Mr. Reese Melven and Mike Case from the team Bonafide Kayaks. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, dude. No problem at all. So this is another part of the kayak series where I'm going to get some pro staffers on from each kayak company here, and we're going to talk about some kayaks. So I guess we will start off by you guys letting listeners know who you are, where you're from, and how you got into the pro staff thing for kayak, Bonafide Kayaks. So let's start with you, Reese.
All right. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. And yeah, I got on with Bonafide about almost half a year ago. And the Bonafide Kayaks were actually my first big, pretty much premium kayak, coming out of like a Walmart brand kayak. And yeah, I haven't looked back since. It's been awesome. Great platform, one of the best on the market. So yeah.
You had a hand in naming that blue Bonafide, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. So you've been with Bonafide for 6 months, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool. I've been. It's been about the same for me, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Mike, what about you? Where are you from? How'd you get into this game?
So I'm originally from Ohio. Right now I'm out of right outside DC, and I've had been on the Bonafide team since early 2018. I was kind of like Reese. I was coming out of I spent $300 and bought a used kayak. It was the first kayak I had, and spent my first tournament season in that. And then said, like, you know what? I'm tired of this. Let's get a real boat. Got on that thing, and it was night and day, and I haven't looked back since. It's the best boats I've been on a few boats. It's the best boat that I've ever been on.
Yes, same here. I really enjoy. I'm on the 127, but I've been in all of them, and those things are extremely stable. So we'll get into that. But you mentioned you're from Ohio?
Yeah, originally from Eastern Ohio.
What part?
New Philly.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm from the Dayton area.
Yep. I'm very familiar with Dayton.
Okay. Small world. That's crazy. Awesome. All right. So I guess we can start off with the EX123. Not many people talk about this kayak, so it'd be cool to get the word out a little bit. You guys spent some time in that kayak?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Let's start off with you, Reese. So what have you? I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Like, where do you use that kayak, and what do you use it for?
So the first time I went out, and I actually went out on the lake out here at Lake Murray. And I was just paddling around. It wasn't, I haven't taken it out in moving water yet. That's probably something I will be doing, because I'm interested to see how it is, especially with that sealed hatch. It's definitely one I want to take out. And I think they're coming out with a skirt for it, or a half skirt or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, I only took it out in the lake, and for a sit inside kayak, the stability in it is really good, which is wild. But yeah, it's a really good paddling boat as well. It's really fast. But yeah, definitely want to try it in moving waters though, because I think it'll be a fun river boat for sure.
Yeah, that's something I want to get into. That thing weighs like what, 52 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's something I want to try, because I'm a big river guy. So I'm trying to scale back. The 127 is a little bit much for my rivers up here in Dayton. They're pretty shallow and not as wide. So Yeah, you do have to portage a lot too, so that's a big thing with me. I'm trying to cut weight for the river, but uh, Mike, what are you using it for?
So I've been taking it on the river. So here in DC, most of the water that I fish here is tidal. So I'm off the tidal Potomac area. And I've done some of the back creeks, and kind of like you were talking with the smaller Dayton rivers. Did some of the creeks that are about 20 feet wide. But then like I took just a couple weekends ago, and then Super Bowl Sunday out just cold, headed out on the Potomac, paddling on the Potomac. And it was amazing. Like the boat is fast, it's stable. I headed out in the Potomac in November, and the wind was going crazy. There were like waves on the Potomac. I was paddling against the wind both directions somehow, and the thing cut through. And it was, if I had been in my 127, it would have been a different experience with the heavier boat, bigger boat. But the 123 is when I'm taking these longer trips on the river, it is great. Especially I paddle, so I was able to paddle where I wanted to, get into some of the back creeks off the river, and it just cut through the current. Typically the Potomac is a pretty big river, and that current, when you hit it, it'll take you. But I didn't really have much problem paddling with that, with the shape of the boat. It just cuts right through.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about the shape of it and stuff. Like it's a traditional kayak, and everybody's getting away from that, and they're wanting these sit on tops or something with scuppers and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a breath of fresh air that Bonafide brought that kayak back, and it's like we actually sold one at the Cincinnati Fishing Expo this past weekend. So I was like, that's awesome. You don't see many people getting into those anymore. So when he bought that, I was like, heck yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I'm a purist. I like to paddle as well, so I like that you brought that point up. It's definitely a good paddle boat. I've never seen anybody put a motor on it.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting.
Yeah. Do you paddle or you motor, Reese?
I'm in between. So when I'm on the rivers, I'm paddling. But this year I'm running a Torpedo on a 127 for tournaments.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We'll have to talk about that when we get to the 127.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I got this thing pulled up here. Your favorite. Let's go over your guys' favorite parts of the boat. What would you say? Start with Mike.
I'm not like, so I utilize the cockpit area, that like the dry hatch, the cup holder. I'm yet to put anything, like I'm actually yet to put a beverage in the cup holder. By the time I get back, I've got tools, I've got lures. The thing I really like about it is the availability to mount stuff using the double-sided hex screws, to be able to put that through, so I switched out the mounting, the tie downs or the screw downs on it, and switched out with the double-sided hex, and I put the Yak Attack camera holder and attached a roto grip to that, so that's where I hold my paddle. And then on the other side, put a camera mount on it, so I've got a little camera there. And then in the middle, put a rod holder. So, and between that and my other two mighty mounts, it's amazing just to be able to use that the way it's already there, and to be able to throw accessories on without having to do any major modifications to the boat. And I've put a couple gear tracks on, but that console there, and with the dry the dry hatch, like I've actually considered almost getting a switchblade and throwing on a fish finder, just kind of see how it goes. I've never really thought about putting a fish finder on a sit inside, but it might be a possibility.
Oh yeah, my first kayak was a sit inside, and I had the ram arm, I think, and like a small fish finder, and it worked out pretty well. But I mean, you get used to like some of these other better quality products, and you just don't want to go back to it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that console, yeah, I like the front console there. I like how you can customize it however you want. And then you mentioning adding gear tracks to it, that obviously adds value to the kayak. Even though you're drilling holes, you drilled holes for those, I'm guessing, right?
For the gear tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't drill holes. I just put the screws straight through. That worked fine for me. So I do something a little weird. I wouldn't be able to do it, I think, for any sit inside. I do the same thing with my 127, but I actually mount two of my rods on the 123 going straight forward in front of me on Omega Pros. So if I was in any other sit inside where I'm sitting in it, it's not as stable, I wouldn't be able to do that because they're kind of in the way, and you got to reach out. But being able to stand in the 123 and fish, and I can treat it the same way I do my 127. I can put my rods there. I can do the same rigging, and I'm not having to kind of reinvent the wheel going from my 127 to my 123.
Yeah, dude, being able to stand in a sit inside kayak like blew my mind. First time I got in there, I stood up. I had no issues. That thing, I was stunned how stable that kayak was. It's ridiculous. What about you? What are you customizing? What's your favorite parts of the EX123, Reese?
I like the little the paddle keep on that one. It's a lot different than the 127 and the 107. And I've actually seen some people, they'll put the paddle keep on from the 127 and the 107 on that. I actually saw it was like in one of the groups just yesterday, and it looks really really good. But kind of what Mike was saying, that console is awesome. And I haven't done much of putting accessories on it. But yeah, I think it's really cool. And I like the back hatch. It fits a black pack almost perfectly on that back part of it.
Under the bungees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was made for that. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but when I went out in one, I did put it back there. It was sticking off a little high, but yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was made for it because Luther thinks of everything. Hey, somebody's got a train running in the background.
Yeah, it's right here. It's right behind our shop.
That's a first on our podcast. That's awesome.
Not a dog, not a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good. Do you guys utilize the back hatch at all on the 123, like inside?
When I went out, I mean, not necessarily. I think that would be really useful for like an overnight or like river camping stuff, because it's not, when you're sitting there trying to reach behind you, it's not the easiest to get into. But I think that's definitely something that would be really useful, and like, because I know a lot of these people are getting into these or doing those overnight camping trips on the river. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't really use it too much like while I'm on the water. But the thing that I like about it is because the kayak is so light, I usually am car topping until I get my trailer finalized. I'm car topping, so I'm used to loading up a 127 on top of a minivan.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's a heavy boat, so putting that up there by myself is quite the experience. So when I get to 123 and I can just lift it up and put it up there, I found that instead of putting all of my my bags of soft bait, some of my smaller gloves, dry bag, all that stuff, I'll just throw all that stuff into the back hatch. And then once I get done, the only thing I've got to really worry about is I put the stuff on the boat, drag it, and then the rest of my stuff is in the back hatch and it's already ready to go.
Yeah, that's cool. I usually utilize the 127 inside storage for like rods and stuff. See, this kayak, I don't know if you're able to do that unless you're able to fit them in the cockpit. You guys?
I actually have. I was fishing some very skinny water, and like I said, I put my rods going forward. The spatter dock was so high, the vegetation was really thick, and the areas that I was turning were actually tighter than the length of the kayak. So like I was managing to get through because I had about 6 inches of water, and I was able to get through back to some open water. But my rods sticking out were hitting the grass, so I just pulled my rods in and just slid them down inside and just kind of had them sitting there while I got back to the open water.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to try that. That's pretty cool.
It wasn't the easiest thing in the world, so don't like expect that like that's where you're gonna store all your rods, but it was useful.
No, I could see somebody like storing rods inside during transportation and stuff.
Yeah.
So
with the seat out. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the seat a little bit. That's the same seat as the RS117, right?
Yeah, I believe so. That frame seat. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. How do you guys feel about the seat?
Personally, I think it was really comfortable, and it's not, obviously it's not as tall as the 127 and the other ones, but it wasn't that difficult to stand up, because I know some of those boats you get in with the lower seat, but it wasn't very difficult to get standing up in. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed the same thing. I just grabbed the side of the boat and pushed myself up. The thing I like about it, and it took me a little bit, because I was so anxious to get in the water with it. I'm like, I want to get in the boat. So I just threw the seat in there and sat. And after a little bit on the water, I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is working for me. But after a little bit of experimenting, like I'd paddle for a little while, beach it, fix some straps, paddle, and after a little while, I got that thing perfectly customized to me, and it was incredibly comfortable. I don't have any discomfort. I don't have any back pain or anything just sitting in it. It's like I could just paddle in that boat all day long.
Yeah, that's one thing like Bonafide's done really well with is their seats, man. Their seats are awesome. I've been in numerous kayaks, and I think those are my favorite seats by far. So, oops. Let's see here. We're gonna go over the cockpit a little bit, because there's a lot of people that talk about it. Do you guys have issues have you ever entered a tournament in the 123 at all?
No.
No. Okay. Not yet.
Well, I was gonna ask what you guys did to measure fish inside there. So I don't know if like a hog trough fits inside, or do you guys have any experience with that? No experience.
I don't really have much experience with it. I know it will sit like kind of across, but I mean, I know a lot of guys who will angle it in their sit on tops, and have one side up in the hull. And I mean, I haven't tried a fish on that, but I'm thinking if I like put it on my leg, like the hard trough on the leg, and then kind of sticking out of the boat. I don't know. I haven't really tried it yet, but there's a lot of room for experimentation on that boat. I think if you were to really work at it, like I'm sure there's a way to make it happen. Anytime I've taken it out, because I haven't really been tournament fishing, I stick it under the front, the cargo mat there. Sorry, I'm on a blank on the little name of the little cargo flap of the front, right. But I just have it there in case I catch a 27 and I can outfish Brad, which is not going to happen. But
yeah, that's kind of one thing that's holding me back from buying a 123. I love the boat regardless, but I do a lot of like KBF monthly challenges for Ohio, and being able to measure the fish inside that boat, I'm not sure how easy it is. So I'm going to have to try it. I'm going to have to go to the demo shop, and I'm going to have to try it. Bring my hog trough out there. So that's
probably
interesting.
Lose any fish.
What's that?
I said probably wouldn't lose any fish, because if they're going to flop off, they're just going to go right to the bottom.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. The Jackson Kilroy HD, it kind of has a similar cockpit pit, but of course it's a lot longer, a lot wider. But they're kind of similar. It's kind of cool. But the front cargo area, do you guys utilize that at all?
I mean, in the few times I've been out, the only time I've really used it is for, like Mike said, the hog trough, and of course the paddle, because that's where the paddle keep is on it.
Yeah.
I modified it. I put the boss strap from the 107 on the front, and did some deck pad there to kind of quiet it out. So part of my cargo area is kind of taken up by the front part of my paddle, but I'll just loosen up that back strap, the one that's closest to the console, stick my hog trough under there. It's just, if I was going camping, it'd be perfect. Like if I was going to go out on expedition, or, I can hold, and I can't hold a lot over there, but you can hold some of the stuff that you need right with you at the moment. But mostly it's just kind of what holds my hog trough.
Awesome. Good stuff. I think we covered this kayak pretty well. I mean, I think we're all in agreement here. It's a great small river boat. So you guys, if you're in the market for like a sit-in side kayak, I think this is a good route to go. $999 for that. 52 pounds, comfortable. So you're not a tournament angler and you just want something to go down a river with that's quick and easy by yourself, this is the boat for you. I know the SS127 is out there as well, which is another good river boat. It's a little heavier, but it's all your preference. Just if you're in the market, man, just research it, check it out, go demo one. We're gonna move on to the 127 here. So, well, actually, do you guys have any cons on the 123? Like something that you would like to see changed at all?
The only thing I could think of and would probably be a side handle, because that's one thing that when I'm tying it down, it's one thing that it's kind of like a blank spot. There's not really anything to run your straps through. But other than that, I can't really think of anything.
And it's actually funny you mentioned that, Reese, because like I was thinking the same thing every time I load it. I get my hands inside the console, inside the hatch, and like that's what I'm lifting up on. But every now and then, like I'll slip, and like the kayak now on top of me. So if I had a hand or something to grab on, but I've given some thought lately. Like I said, I put the 107 boss strap on the front. I've given some thought to actually grabbing the side handles from the 127, 107, and actually putting those on with the Yak Attack backing, and putting those on the 123. I think I've got enough room to paddle, so I don't think they're going to necessarily get in the way. But I think the benefit of having those side paddles for loading and transport, I think that's going to make a big difference.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, that's nice.
You can, listeners, you guys can buy all this stuff on Bonafide's website too. So if there is something you want to add to the kayak, it's all there for you. So cool, man. Let's transition over to the 127, because this is the granddaddy of kayaks here. No, the SUV of kayaks. That's what it is. So let's start with Reese. How long you been in a 127?
So this is my first season with it. Last season I was all in the 107. So I've had it for probably about a month and a half, but I've been out in a good bit. And it's awesome. It's as far as paddling goes, it really surprised me. For as heavy as it is, it really paddles pretty well. And then I mean, just the amount of things you can build off on it, like all the rails, all the, it's just such a good platform to really make it your own. And that's one of the reasons I went, decided to get into a Bonafide, like the console, the dry pod. I love it. I think it's a great platform. So.
Yeah, I do too. I want to hear your take on the Torpedo motor you have on that.
Right. Yeah. So what I'm doing, I think a lot of people are starting to do now, is they'll take a gear track and they'll put it in the perch pads, and so that's where I'm running my throttle, and I'm running the motor lower release clip. and I even have a cup holder on there, which is awesome because I mean I don't really necessarily like to have stuff down at my feet. You know, the only thing I run down the boat on those rails is my graph.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I want to keep everything using that empty space, you know, on the sides of me. But yeah, Torqeedo is a fairly simple install. I mean, I don't know if y'all have installed the rudders, but yeah, I mean, it was just like that. It was a fairly simple install, and I mean, that thing is awesome. I just fished my first tournament with it, and we had 20, 25 mile an hour winds, and I mean, it was cutting through head on into the wind like no problem. I mean, it's terrific. It's awesome.
What's your top speed with the Torqeedo?
I was getting 5.2 miles an hour.
Dang, man. Against the wind?
No, that's
Okay.
not against the wind. I'm probably going like 4.5.
That's still good, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It kills the battery because that's full throttle, but
yeah.
But no, the battery life is great though. I mean, it will drain it, but I mean, it's not like it's gonna kill it really quick. I mean, I was out there for 8 hours and it died right as I got to the ramp, and I was doing some pretty serious, you know, running, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
Spot to spot, you know. But yeah, it's awesome.
But what mount are you using on the back?
So I'm using the Torqeedo one that comes standard with it. I'm thinking about maybe getting a power pole. I'm not sure yet, but if I do that, I mean, there's so many aftermarket, you know, mounts for that. But yeah, for right now, just the standard Torqeedo, which is awesome. Because I mean, you can. That's one thing I was really worried about when I was getting into it. You know, the time that it would take to set it up. But I mean, really, it's just one clip and attaching all the different lines that you have to run. I mean, it's only 4 lines. So I can take it off in about 10 seconds and throw it in the truck, and I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that easy.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if I've even ever seen a Torqeedo in person, man. Those things are cool though.
Yeah.
Mike, you running a motor on your 127?
No, I had tried a DIY motor with a 30-pound Minn Kota, and it actually worked out pretty well. Like I got everything going on it. I built a homemade mount, put it on there, ran the cables. Everything was great, and couldn't get it registered. I was having problems with my original receipt for the motor, and Virginia wouldn't register the kayak. So, but I mean, you know, it was, like I said, I'm a purist, so I do like to paddle. Plus, it's a good workout.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it would be great, but yeah, I just never, once I had the problem with the registration, I just kind of let it go. Never really tried to get back into it. And I mean, it's whatever. Would I love to throw a Torqeedo one there? Yeah, maybe someday here in the future.
Go register it in another state. I'm just joking. No.
Well, Ohio's really easy to register, so I've actually thought about it.
Yeah. So you don't have to register your kayak if you don't have a motor on it where you are?
No, in Virginia, it's as long as it's non-powered, then you don't have to register. I know in Ohio you have to register it, but when I talked to DMV about it, they said it was a really simple process.
Yeah, it is pretty simple. It just sucks. I know we're like one of the only 5-7 states that make you register a kayak even if you paddle it. Yeah, it sucks, but it's whatever. So, let's start front to back. Front storage on the 127. What are you guys utilizing, and how much can you store inside of her?
Well, pretty much when I'm going out, I'm keeping like a little cooler up there. And I have it fit where it fits perfect, where I can just pop it open, and you know, it's not necessarily that I'm keeping anything cold, so I'll just take the lid off of it, and it'll just hold food for the day. And I even keep like a rain jacket up there, And I mean, that hatch is just, it's so big. I mean, even when you're traveling, you know, you can fit 8-10 rods in it. You know, it's really versatile. So it's awesome.
Yeah, that front hatch is probably my favorite feature of the whole kayak, because when I utilize it when I am transporting. So I'll throw all my rods in there, my leverage landing net, my life vest, all my rod holders, fish finder, hog trough, and I still have room for more. That's a crazy thing. It's ridiculous. I know guys have been making mounts for those things, for rod holders to go inside there too. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see something like that be made by Yak Attack. That's compatible with that. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. I've thought about taking, you know, using like starboard or some kind of like some kind of plastic to actually make a frame inside there, and then use the actual boat rod tubes. And I haven't really gotten too much into it. I don't know how the room would look, and so I use 6 rods. Like I have a 6 rod setup that I go out with. So being able, if I could just get three tall to be able to put the rods in there. But I have a little makeshift method that I use. I put on each side, I put 3 rods in one rod sleeve, and then once I'll put one on each side of the hull, and then I just I use like a tie strap to tie the ends together. And then once I put that in there and I tie them together, they can't move back. They can move forward a little bit, but that's where the rod butt is. So I don't worry about the tips at all. But I use it a little different, you know, and we're going to talk about stability on this thing, I know. But because of how stable it is, and I can get up in the hatch, I used Velcro and put on the floor of it, I put a little IKEA bin down inside the front hatch, and then I put all my soft plastic bags down inside there. So anytime I need to change out, I just crawl forward, reach up in there, and it's funny, like I found myself one day just crawling up there and grabbing and I realized I'm leaning in there, I'm half over the water, and the boat's not even moving. I mean, it almost feels, you know, people have compared the seat to a bass boat, but the stability is such that I don't think about it. I take it for granted. I'm going to end up in the water one of these days, but I just take the stability for granted. And I'm crawling up there, messing with the hatch. I pull out my soft plastics. It's a little different if I put 4 rods up the front. Then I kind of take away the use of the hatch while I'm on the water. But with my new rod holder that is going to be going on the back, then I don't really have to worry. I'll put 2 on the sides going forward. My 2, whatever I'm using primarily at that point. But yeah, that's kind of my go-to, is put my soft plastics up inside that hatch.
I gotcha. Yeah, I usually put my soft plastics binder in the junk drawer.
Yeah.
Is that what you do too?
Yeah. I have one of the big roll-out things, and I just tuck it down in there.
Yeah, I got the black pack in the back, and then I throw my tackle boxes in there, and then just keep plastics under the seat. But yeah, let's talk about stability since you brought it up. I know everybody knows that when they hear Bonafide Kayaks, they think, "Oh man, super stable kayak." So let's talk about that a little bit. What's the craziest thing you've done on a kayak on the 127, and have not flipped it? I guess. Yeah, he has a funny story I can tell already.
Oh man, probably the craziest thing is getting hung up in a tree and not looking down, like fully spread out, you know, have like the paddle trying to, you know, get it out of the tree. And
yeah,
I don't know, it's felt a little sketchy at times, but you know, yeah, definitely that's probably gets a little sketchy when both arms are up, I'm holding a rod, I'm holding the paddle, and I'm trying to shake a lure out of a tree. But yeah, that's honestly probably the closest I've ever been to falling in, which is crazy.
Yeah,
just so stable.
Usually when people think of stability, they think like falling off the kayak, that the kayak's not stable. That's not what we're talking about. Of course, if you lean too far, you're going to fall off that kayak. So we're talking about the stability of it. This kayak's extremely hard to flip.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you do flip it, it's going to be really hard to flip it back over. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so I had the same kind of experience as Reese. I got hung up in a tree. I you know, we all have our bad cast, and we're trying to get somewhere, and next thing you know, we got our jackhammer in a tree, and I'm not losing that. So I had just bought in the thing. I just bought in the jackhammer, and it was like my fourth cast, and I got stuck in a tree. And I'm like, I can't go home if I lose $20 lure. So I paddle over to it, and I couldn't really get to the tree. So like I got right up next to it, and I'm reaching over for it, and I'm almost there, and I'm reaching and reaching. Next thing I know, like I realized that like I'm holding onto the seat with my left hand, reaching out for this. Most of my body, my shoulders are over the edge of the boat, and the edge of the boat is like pushing down. Like I can see it starting to, like the water is starting to get up to the edge of it, and the boat didn't go over. And in my old little, I won't mention the brand, but in my old boat, like if I would have done that, I would have been swimming. And it was really cool because like right next to me were rocks. So if I had gone over, and I was wearing my PFD, yes, for everybody out there, yeah, always wearing my PFD. But if I had gone over, I was going right down onto boulders and stuff, and probably wouldn't have felt good. But you know, it made me think of this phrase, and I got to tell Luther, it's like you guys thought of stability. I wouldn't have to. All I think about is what I have to do. That day, and when I saw that I was holding on, I was that far over, I didn't stop. I just kept. I'm like, I'm getting this lure, because I knew it's like I can trust my boat. My boat's got me. And it was. I learned a lot about that boat that trip. First time taking on a river. First time testing out its stability like that. It was that. That had only been my like third or fourth time out with that boat, and it really made me respect the boat at that time.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, going back to the PFD thing, man. I know if you're not wearing that, you fall on those rocks, you hit your head. You don't know what's gonna happen. So wear it. I mean, we try to like teach everybody that here at Paddle and Fin. So. It's important to us. You guys are important to us. So, yeah, wear the PFD and everything.
PFD.
They're too comfortable not to.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah.
That could be a whole nother segment here, man. PFDs and everything. So we could go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about my PFD. I get hate messages when I mention it because I wear an inflatable. So every time I start mentioning about, hey, what PFD do you guys recommend? Well, I mention mine, and all of a sudden it's like I'm just deleting my comment because it's like, oh no.
I've been there a few times. It's all good. So let's go dry pod. Do you guys mount your fish finders on it like everybody else is doing?
Well, I run the transducer through that, and then I run it off to the side. So I'll put the Yak Attack, fish finder mount off to the side on one of the side rails. That way, because normally what I do is I'll put all my rods down on the junk drawer and run them straight up the boat. So I just like to keep that whole area kind of open. And I really haven't had any problems with it getting hung up or anything getting caught around it. So. But yeah, I love the dry pod because that's actually, I love the being able to take it out and, being able to put it in. So it's not something that where my transducer is always going to be mounted on my boat. It's not on the bottom of the hull. It's something I can take out and, it can always be, bought by another one. It's not like if I mess it up, it's into the kayak, but.
No, I'm with you. I like that mounting a transducer on the bottom as well because the way the hull is shaped, it's like two pontoons and then it comes up in the middle and it's it sits higher in the water column than the bottom of the pontoons. So I feel like for rivers that's like the perfect option because like that transducer is just hiding up in there away from rocks. You're gonna hit bigger rocks on the sides of the boat before you hit them in the middle of the boat, unless you just completely cross right over the top like a one pointy big rock and not even know it. So that's cool. You mounting yours on the dry pod as well, Mike?
So I mount the fish finder on the dry pod, and on my Cohan Blue 127, I mounted the my Lowrance right directly onto. I didn't use a mount. I just used the Lowrance mount and put it right in the dry pod. And some of that was, I was new to the 127. I was kind of new to the upgraded electronics, and it just was convenient at that time. I'll be doing something different, kind of like I'll be doing more like what Reese is doing. I'm gonna put mine up in the front on the front track, slightly offset.
Are you talking about the front track behind the storage door?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I'll put that one, and I'll move it forward slightly so that it's out of the way so I can still open the hatch. There's a couple reasons for that. One, it's easy just to run the wire straight from there, the dry pod, pull everything off with the lock and load. That makes it really easy to take it off, because I don't leave it on, especially when I'm car topping.
Yeah.
No, but once I put it on the trailer with a cover, that might be a different story, because when you get that long fishing trip, you're tired. But the other reason is my new boat, once it gets here, it's got some deck padding on the dry pod, and kind of can't really bring myself to cut into that. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of. I really like the way the boat looks, so I'm having a hard time bringing myself to start cutting on the limited edition.
Yeah.
Which color are you getting?
I got a Black Widow coming.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's part of my favorite.
and
It's awesome.
it's too nice, and I just can't do it. But I thought about mounting it off the side anyways. So
yeah, that's cool. I got a red line I'm picking up on Saturday, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that boat looks good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that was what I was originally gonna pick up. I was gonna pick up the red line, and then at the last minute, I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Black Widow."
Spend the extra $100 and get the Black Widow.
Yeah, I couldn't really turn it down.
Yeah, we just sold a Black Widow 107 at the expo this past weekend. Older gentleman, he was pumped. It was cool. So, talked about the dry pod. Actually, I'm going to ask you one more thing about your fish finder, Reese. How much wire do you have going from the fish finder to the dry pod?
So it's actually not bad, and I'm planning to do something. I think I saw Fluke Master had it on his. He took a rod sleeve and he cut it down, and he ran all the wires through that, and that really cleans it up. And that's probably something I'm going to be doing. But other than that, I really haven't noticed, all the. And I'll pull them through, because I'll get in the actual dry pod and I'll pull them through where they're relatively tight, and it's not just a bunch of wires hanging out. But yeah, I really haven't noticed it at all.
Okay. Are you storing your battery inside the hatch or the dry pod?
Yeah. So I'm got a Dakota lithium inside of the dry pod, which fits perfectly. It's like it's made for it. It's awesome.
Huh. 10 amp hour or bigger?
Yeah, the 10 amp hour.
Okay, I got one coming in the mail, so.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Curious.
It runs insanely long. It's awesome.
What fish finder are you running on it?
I'm running a Lowrance Hook 2 7 triple shot. So it's like basically their low side scan, down scan sonar.
Okay. How long does that last on one charge?
Well, I haven't actually tried to run it to the end, but I've been out there for 8-9 hours and on pretty high brightness and haven't had a problem.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's insane.
That's cool, man. I keep seeing everybody talk about it, so I had to bring that up. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so talked about the dry pod. Let's talk about the seat. The seat's a little different from the 123, of course, and the RS117. Let's talk about the seat. Adjustment straps, all the different features. What do you guys like about it?
You know, the adjustment straps are definitely good because when I'm out there, one thing I notice is the lumbar. You know, I'll feel like I'll constantly kind of need to adjust it, you know, kind of just depending on how long I'm out there. And it's super easy to adjust. You know, you just reach back and you kind of get to know where it's at, you know, after using it, and you can just pull it, you know, you kind of release it and tighten it as you need it. But yeah, kind of like Mike was saying earlier, you can really adjust those seats like perfectly to, you know, fit what you need. But yeah.
Yeah, I love that seat. And it was the same thing with my 123. Like the 127, I got on it. I was so anxious. Like I just jumped in the water, sat back, and I was like, well, hold on. Like I was told this was the most comfortable seat ever. But like it was like completely loose. There was I didn't have anything adjust, and I sat down and I was like, oh. But it like took me, you know, and like that was another crazy thing. Like I'm on the water, turning around, adjusting straps, pulling, and the boat's not going anywhere. And that was a nice change. You know, I could get on there, make all the adjustments right there. But once I got it adjusted, it was so comfortable. And like I stood a lot because I mean, the first boat I have that I could stand without outriggers on it. And I'm standing. But that's the other thing about it is you're sitting so high. My previous boat, like you were basically like my legs were going straight out. So
yeah,
I was right on the deck. So standing up was like I had a strap that I was, you know, pulling myself up. This one, like I just stood up. Like I didn't feel like I was having to do exercises. I just stood up and I was halfway there just sitting. But the height of the seat, the adjustments. I like the height because all the room you have into. I know again, I'm not trying to get ahead of us. We're going into the junk drawer soon, but the amount of space you have, and that I can. So I have my paddle that rests right on the frame of the seat.
Yeah.
Yes, so that comes back. It's right there. So when I stand, I got my paddle right there if I need to grab it. And it's perfect. And now I know, like for me, I'm taller, so I don't have any problem reaching the pedal in the high positions. The foot pegs. But yeah, it's that height is perfect.
I'm with you, dude. That height of the seat is awesome. I never sit in low position. I don't know about you guys, but
no,
I don't mess with it.
I've tried it a couple of times, and I mean, yeah, you can get a little bit more oomph on your paddle, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, I'm going to put this back up because I don't like sitting this.
Yeah, same thing. I think I've put my seat in low position like the first time I got it and never touched it since. Right. Other cool thing about the seat is like if you're camping on a river trip or something, I noticed you can take that seat out. You can use it as a lawn chair.
Yeah. Yep.
So actually, just last weekend, I was using it at the fishing expo because, you know, being on your feet for 13 hours hurts your back and your legs, especially when you're like getting into your 30s like I am. But yeah, I took that seat off the Black Widow. I had to sit on it for 20 minutes just to relieve my back. So it doubles as a lawn chair. It's comfortable that way too.
Yep.
Yeah. The straps though, that's a major thing. I see a lot of guys in the Bonafide owners groups complaining about it. If you keep adjusting until it feels comfortable, you won't have any issues after that. So I'm glad you hit on that. So junk drawer. I know you wanted to get into it, so Mike, I'll let you go ahead.
So I don't put I do throw a couple bags. If like it's something I'm going to grab right away, I will throw a couple packs of worms or a chatterbait trailer or something in there because I tend to lose those a lot. But I put actually a Plano box inside there. And what I'll do is I'll put my tools, I'll put some first aid stuff, some extra identifiers, and I'll put all that stuff in my Plano box. And then that takes up most of the stuff, but then I'll throw in some water bottles and some sunscreen, some bug spray. And it's none of the, and with all that stuff in there, I still loosen it. I can pull it right out and I'm not hitting anything. I got plenty of room. Throw some gloves, pliers, all kinds of stuff. And that junk drawer is like my dump too, because when I get done at the end of the day, I've pulled that thing out. I swear half my tackle's in that junk drawer. It's like, you should see that thing at the end of a tournament. It is my go-to. And if that junk drawer, I've actually forgotten it at home a couple times, gone pretty far away from my house, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can go fishing today. I don't have my junk drawer. What am I gonna do?
That's awesome. Yeah, they don't call it the junk drawer for nothing. You throw your junk in there, man. I like the junk drawer. I do take it for granted. Like I said, I usually only store soft plastics in there. But with the new cover coming out, I don't know if you guys have one or not.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's awesome. It's good.
I will soon.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting one, and I have some ideas reeling in my head for it. I might be getting another extra one because I don't know if you guys saw this. The guy, somebody in the Bonafide owners group, they took it, they folded it in half, and then they draped it over the sides of the seat.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that. I did see that. Yeah, it looks pretty good with it too, like that.
It does. It got some ideas in my head for that, and kind of excited to try it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna order one. Might order two just because stuff happens. And I want to mess around with that and my black pack a little bit. I don't know if it's so. I'm in my black pack a lot, changing out, getting in there, pulling stuff out. So I just want to mess around with it and see what it's like when it's unzipped. I haven't messed with it at all, so I'm completely, anything I say right now would be speculation.
Yeah.
And I want to be careful with that, because somebody's going to say, I'm going to say that it's great, and somebody's going to blow it up on social media that I said it was great.
That's the thing I was going to say. The only complaint I've had about it, it's great otherwise. I love the two side compartments, but actually getting stuff out of it, because there's that middle zipper that you use. Some stuff doesn't really come out of that, and you'll kind of need to take one of the edges off. Because you can't really, access it. And that middle zipper, it's good if you're kind of reaching in and you're getting out, like you said, a soft plastic bag or something like that. But, some of the, like if I'm getting that big soft plastic roll out, it won't really come out of that. And so I'll kind of either have to, pull up the bungees a little bit enough to slide it out, which is what I mostly do. But I hardly use that little zipper in the middle. But I do use little two side pockets quite a bit on it.
I wonder if running that zipper perpendicular to the boat would help.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, it'd make the zipper a little longer.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't know if it would fit, because I don't think that all the sides are even on that junk drawer. Because it's made to like fit with the Bonafide logos running parallel with the boat.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if it would fit like that, but yeah, I love the junk drawer, and like I was saying earlier, it has the rod stagers on it, which I use like all the time. I really love that feature, and like kind of like Mike was saying, that's kind of just where I throw, the extra soft plastics. I'll just chunk them in there, and I usually, like I said, keep that soft plastic roll, binder, and I'll keep my GoPro case and all my GoPro stuff in there. And just all the stuff that doesn't really have a place on the boat, you can just put in there and has one spot, which is really convenient because it's right under you. It's space that's not being utilized for anything, so it's perfect.
That's cool. Good ideas, man. I like that. So let's talk. I think we're gonna wind this down. Let's talk about the rear well. So do you both use black packs back there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The clips in the back, they clip onto the black pack. I don't know if listeners know that or not, so I'm just going to mention that. Is there any other thing you use that rear well for?
I'll put the Torpedo battery in between my black pack and my seat, and I'll kind of wedge it in with the bungee cords, running it over the top of it. But other than that, no. But the Omni hooks, I will say, from coming from the 107 to the 127, the Omni hooks are awesome. Because having to string that bungee cord around the black pack and having to force it over, just from going to those little hooks, just snap on easy. It's awesome. They fit perfectly.
You can buy those aftermarket.
Yeah, you can.
7, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And mine, my black pack's back there. I don't really have anything else back there unless I'll throw like a jacket or something back there, and if I don't throw it in my front hatch, something quick. My net will go back there. But I'm gonna have a lot more room this year because I moved all my rod holders off my black pack, and built a quad rod holder. That it's going to be up on the side on the rail. So I actually haven't gotten to put that on my kayak yet because I don't have it. So I haven't gotten to test that out in the water. So I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. I know Brad Case got to use it. Scott got to use it a little bit, but
Scott was using it.
I'm a little jealous because I haven't even gotten to try it out yet. But but I'm I want to see about what all I can put in there. I mean, I'm gonna have my rudder on this year. I've got a stack of accessories sitting in a cart out of my garage with no kayak to put them on.
That's painful, dude. Same thing here. Same thing here.
But I'll probably stick my net. Will go kind of on the side. My landing net, and then every now and then when I'm going up, I'll grab my bag of soft plastics, and I'm just like, I'm in a hurry. I'm like, something just jumped over there. I'll just throw it behind me in the tank well. But yeah, it's the whole thing is just so perfectly designed. Like every time I think I've figured everything out, I find something new that I can do with it.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with their saying ultimate fishability, man. This kayak, it truly is ultimate fishability. I've never been on another kayak that you could rig so many different ways, and it's compatible with Yak Attack gear. It's crazy. I love it. That's kind of what brought me to Bonafide is the Yak Attack gear. So it's cool. So one last thing before we end this, let's talk about the flex wings because I feel like people don't understand what they do. So let's talk about that a little bit. Do you guys use them?
Yes.
Yeah. Mike, you can go ahead.
So I was one of the first test when it came out, and I threw those on. Now that was the original design, so they were a lot kind of more flexible. And I put those on, and I took my boat out in the tidal Potomac area, and I was on a creek. Creek was moving. There was some wind, and I pointed my boat at the shore, and I was just fishing the shore, and my boat just stayed the same angle toward. I just floated along the current, facing the bank, and we know the 127 does have a big back end. It does catch the current. I mean, I'm not letting some cat out of the bag. But when I put those flex wings on, it was a drastic difference. No drag when I was paddling. And going from the more flexible version to the stiffer version they end up coming out with, there was no difference except for, I mean, it was a little bit more steady. But that was a big difference. And I haven't tried it with the rudder yet. Like I said, I just got the rudder, still waiting on the boat. So kind of curious to what is that going to be like with the flex wings and then the rudder. And it's ironic. I actually need to order my new flex wings because the only ones I have are my original test versions.
Oh, okay.
And to be fair, I might throw those on because I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
But I need to order some new ones. But I'm kind of curious to checking that out with the rudder. I want to say I'll take it out without the rudder, but I probably won't.
Yeah.
But I want to see what the difference is that with the rudder. I think those flex swings are going to make a big difference while I'm standing. I think the rudder is going to be better while I'm paddling. Obviously, it's going to be harder to use the rudder while I'm standing, so the flex wings will keep my direction while I'm standing and casting.
Yeah, definitely. I like the flex wings. So what's your thoughts on them?
Well, the time I used them, that was last season when I had the 107, and any kind of 10-foot boat you have, it's not going to track the greatest, especially when you stop up after you stop paddling. So that's when I really started, I got them as well on the test kits that they sent out. And it was an instant, change, especially when you're standing up. That's when the boat tends to start to want to drift from, one side to another. But yeah, it definitely is a good cheap fix. I see a lot of people in the groups, they're like, well, what's the difference? And, basically what I say is, if you want a cheap fix that will work, the flex wings are perfect. Cause they do the job. And also one thing I love is you can actually drag the boat with them because they're flexible and they'll tuck up in. And it's not like you're dragging that plastic and it's going to rip it and tear it up. So that's one thing I think that's brilliant. That's a great design, how it just pops up like that.
And they sit under the skid plates too, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
But the rudder was great. That thing it pretty much fixed all the tracking problems I was having with the 107. And I would go down a bank and I would just let the wind take me, and I would just adjust the rudder with my feet as I'm casting to just keep me, going down straight. But yeah.
I think you just sold me on a rudder, dude.
Yeah, there is. They will fix any kind of tracking problem. That thing will track on a line. It was especially for the 107. It was a game changer.
Yeah. Everybody hates that saying, but it's said a lot. It's all good though. No,
and it's awesome rudder. Just the if you pick it up compared to other rudders, it's solid. I got to see it off a boat, and I picked this thing up, and I got to pick up another rudder, and I'm like, this isn't a kayak rudder. This is is beefy. I could put this on a boat and I'd be okay with it. But the design of it is I'm not going to use the G word, but it really does change the game.
Yeah.
I'll probably get some hate for that one. That's okay.
He was thinking of a different way to say it. That's awesome. Oh man. All right, we're gonna wind this down. We're a little bit over an hour, so we try to keep it an hour. Guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. Let's do some shout outs. You guys have anybody you want to shout out, or where people can find you on social media, or any other plugs?
So first off, I would say Paddle Self Outfitters. That's the shop down here. Really helped get me into this thing, hooking me up with a lot of these companies. And it's been a great opportunity. So definitely, if you're in the South Carolina area, come check us out. Carry all the major brands. Of course, Bonafide Kayaks. It's been awesome getting to meet some awesome people, learn a lot of stuff, some really quality people on the team. And 803 Custom Rods. It's another one of my local things. Custom rods built for me. Does really great work. But yeah, that's about it.
Awesome, dude. How about you, Mike?
Obviously the whole team of Bonafide, Yak Attack, great team. It's like a family. But if anybody from the Central Virginia, Northern Virginia area is watching, I'll be actually answering some of these questions at Great Outdoor Provisions Company in Charlottesville on April 8th. I'll probably be there between 5 and 8. More information is going to be coming out, but come out. I'm going to have the Black Widow set up, all rigged up. Kind of show some of these tools, but yeah, it's going to be a good time. And apparently they're offering free beverages, so that's all I'm going to leave it at that, because probably a family show. So.
I guess it is a little bit. It just depends. I guess it's all good though. So, where can everybody find you guys on social media? Instagram, Facebook?
So Facebook is just Reese Melven, and my Instagram is RBM_yak_Bassin. So RBM Yak Bassin.
Yeah, I already follow you, dude. I like your content.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yep. I think I've been following you for a while. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm mostly on Facebook, Bass Medic. So if you can search Bass Medic, that's where I'm at on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate you guys coming on, talk about Bonafide Kayaks. We'll have to get you guys on again sometime.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's awesome. Long time listener. It's awesome to finally be on it.
I know, dude. I know. I've noticed you liking our posts and stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's been a great opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a good night. Listeners, we'll see you guys next week.
Go check out the website, guys. Paddle, the letter N and fin.com. Also check out YouTube, youtube.com/paddle and fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest, feel free to email us at paddle, the letter N and fin @gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're doing giveaways, announcements, things like that at Facebook and Instagram at paddle and fin. Shout out to our show supporters, Rocktown Adventures, Loveland Canoe and Kayak, Hammered Lures, Fish Mob Lures, TRC Covers, Catch Products. Go to catchproducts.com. You could put the paddle and fin logo right on your catch board. Don't forget to go over and pick up your JigMasters Jigs. Use promo code PNF20 and save 20% today. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. It helps grow the audience, helps others find our podcast. So please drop a 5-star rating in on the podcast platform you're listening on. Don't forget about the recycled plastics program, you guys. Take your used plastic baits, put them in an envelope, mail them to the address in the show notes. Our man Eric Richards at Hammered Lures melts those down, makes new baits, and donates them to various chapters of Heroes on the Water.